So we're gonna start with the stuff relating the full arts and frame breaks in the limit over collection thingies. In case you're watching this on the Plus channel, this is just gonna be about the new card effects. I already did a first reaction to the frame breaks full arts itself, which is probably gonna be a different video. So now we're just gonna take a look at the actual new cards, because some of them are not alt arts, they are retrains. Before we hop into that, it's been announced, apparently, that these are in Rarity Collection 5, which is basically what everyone was assuming already, but that is probably going to make Rarity Collection 5 one of the best, if not the best, Rarity Collection by far, which is awesome. My only question here is, how often are you going to pull these? Because I'm not going to lie to you, even though these look really sick and I really want them, I kind of want these to feel somewhat exclusive. I kind of want them to be hard to get, because these are not required for playing the game. So I would like these to be like, I would like them to be like chase cards. But I guess we'll have to wait and see for the exact pull rates of these, you know? Like, basically, I don't want them to, like, I don't want the same thing to happen to these as they did with, like, Starlights and Quarter Centuries, where, like, they just started pumping them out like no tomorrow, and a card being a Quarter Century secret rare at some point didn't mean anything anymore. You know, some of them were literally cents, right? And I think that's not what this is supposed to be. I think this is supposed to be a collectible, a chase card, something that's exciting to open, and something you can really hunt for, not something you get like a guaranteed in every pack or something. But okay, we'll see about that. Let's take a look at the new cards. First off, we got the Heroes, which is all the protagonist retrains. We're starting off with the new Dark Magician, which looks insane, by the way. Probably one of the best ones that I've seen. Crazy. The Blue Eyes got nothing on this frame break. Insane. Dark Magician, the Pharaoh's Servant, Dark Spellcaster, Dark Magician stats. You can only use the first and you can only use one of the second and third effect of this card's name per turn, and only once that turn. This card's name becomes Dark Magician while on the field or in the graveyard. You can reveal a spell in your hand, special summon this card from your hand. Then you can set a spell trap that mentions Dark Magician from your hand. Quick effect, this card is spell, destroy all spell traps your opponent controls. Okay, that card is nice for Dark Magician. I'm not sure how far behind Dark Magician is behind Blue Eyes in terms of the quality of the deck, but that is a really, really good card. It might not even be exclusive to Dark Magician. If this is just a free extender that requires you to reveal a spell, you get a spellcaster body that can be quick effect Harpy's Feather Duster. Maybe there's a good target for this that you don't have to play in Dark Magician itself, right? Maybe there is a good target that's like generically viable. I'm not sure about those, all right? I would have to look into those. But really good card, the Dark Magician one. Let's see if it's good enough to make Dark Magician as a deck viable. I think one of the biggest problems with Dark Magician versus Blue Eyes is the big quality difference between True Light and what's the Dark Magician one called? Eternal Soul? True Light is so much better. Okay, favorite hero, Shining Flare Wingman. Light Warrior Fusion. Requires a fusion monster and a face-up monster on the field. That is potentially super polyable. This card is always treated as an elemental hero card. You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. If this card is special summoned from the extra deck, you can shuffle 5 monsters from your grave into the deck, then draw 2 cards, and if you do, this card gains 1000 attack. If this is worded correctly, this does not even target, which means you can't, like, it's supposed to be Pot of Avarice effect, I think, because Pot of Avarice is like a GX card, but it doesn't target, so you can't interrupt it. If this card destroys a monster by battle, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. So, okay, there's 2 ways to look at this card. Of course, you can look at it from the hero context, in which I don't think this matters too much. I mean, it's not a bad effect to summon it and then draw 2 cards. However, this is something that happens so late in the hero combo that at that point, you probably already won the game, or you've gotten the B-root to Oblivion. So I don't know how much this does for actual hero decks, especially since the extra deck is not going to have that much room. At the same time, this is a generic monster that I could see being summoned in some cases, you know? Like, it's something that you could summon in any deck that plays Poly or Super Poly or other ways to fuse. And if it ever gets to the late game, and you have a bunch of cards in the grave, this can be your craziest super poly or poly target, you know, like your shuffle 5 back, recycle everything, draw 2 cards is insane, right? Yeah, it is a warrior, so it's not as easy to make. You know, if this was a dragon or a spellcaster or a fiend, which would mean that Fiendsmith or Dracotail could make it very easily, this would be very good. Because Dracotail would also have the room for this in the extra deck, right? It is a warrior, which means it needs other ways to summon it, but it's good, I think. It is good. And that's how, honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of the hero deck itself, so the hero card being more like a generically good card is good in my eyes. All right, Stardust Dragon Retrain. Stardust Dragon Victim Sanctuary. You can only use the first. Also, the stats of these, literally, we don't have to go over it every time. It is just the stats of the original monster that it's trying to, like that's getting a retrain. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. Also, you cannot activate them in the same chain. When your opponent activates a card or effect in response to the activation of your card or effect, quick effect, you contribute this card, negate that opponent's effects, and if you do, destroy that card. Okay. Powerful. And also generic level 8 synchro. Which is kind of cringe, because this negates hand traps. However, it does not negate Nibiru. That's like the one, if you, like, look, I'm not a fan that this kind of effect exists, but if it has to exist, at least it's not just an Omni, right? At least it's not like, oh, you activate Nib, negate it, like Baron or Ripper or anything of that nature, right? Like, you have to do this to something that's activated in response. So if it's a Chainlink 1 Nib, or a Chainlink 1 like Imperm on an open game state, or a Chainlink 1 Bestial, or anything of that nature, you cannot negate that, at least. But still, this is potentially a huge boost to any synchro related strategy. I'm not sure if I like the fact that they made this generic. If your monster was tributed this turn, quick effect, you can banish this card from your grave, special summon a Stardust synchro monster from your extra deck, and it gets better. I mean, you have to tribute it, so you lose it at least. You know, if you... I guess that's something that makes this a little bit fairer than something like Ripper, because you do lose it, but then it does replace itself into a different Stardust synchro monster. I'm not sure if what the good targets for this are. You can summon another copy of itself, but it is once per turn. But there's other targets for this too, right? Yeah, no, this one is good, and I'm not sure, like, I'm not sure if I like what this card is doing. It seems pretty powerful. Axel Stardust. Does Axel Stardust work on special summon though? Because this is not triggered. This is not a synchro summon. Or is Axel on synchro summon or on special? Because if it's just on special on synchro, then it's not great. Okay. Number 39, Utopia, the Envoy of Light. Cannot be destroyed by battle, except, but this one looks insane, by the way. This one looks crazy with the thing around the light attribute. I think this one's awesome. Cannot be destroyed by battle except with a number monster. Quick effect, detach one material from this card, then target a monster you control. The first time it be destroyed by battle or card effect this turn, it's not destroyed. When the second attack of this turn is declared, you can make this card gain 2500 attack, and then if you do, it gains this effect. When this card destroys a monster by battle, sends it to the grave, special summon it to your field. That is quite literally just a freaking OTK monster, right? This shit, like, kills over almost anything. It's basically 5k Yugioh Guardian, but it special summons in attack mode. So, like, have fun, like, maxing a Ryziel deck when you go first, because they might just murder you in Master Duel. It is a Liger Dancer out on a rank 4, but it can be destroyed by Liger Dancer, so I'm not sure how much that matters. Oh no, actually, it protects itself by card effect once. Yeah, it does out Liger, but only if you have another monster that can attack first, right? You can attack with this as well. Yeah, I mean, yes, but you have to have another. You only get this effect on the second turn, right? On the second attack of the turn. But yeah. Okay, Aura Pendulum Dragon of the 4. This one, I hope this card sucks ass, please. During your main phase, what is the pendulum effect? You can only use the pendulum effect once per turn. During your main phase, destroy this card, and if you do, add a pendulum monster with 1500 attack. or less from your deck to your hand. Also for the rest of this turn, unless you pendulum summon after this effect resolves, you cannot activate monsters effects on the field. That's scary. Oh, Dragon of the Four Heavenly Dragons. I didn't see the second line. That's very... I hate that. I hate that card already. Monster effect. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. This pendulum summoned card gains these effects, gains attack, blah, blah, blah. Any battle damage is doubled. If this card in the monster zone is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add it to your hand. If it was destroyed by your opponent, you can special summon it. So the monster effect is kind of mid, but this is just a very, very generic pendulum enabler. Which I am not a big fan of for obvious reasons. We don't need more pend combo slopping. Okay, this is the most important one. This one has to suck ass. Decode Talker integration. Dark Cybers, Link 3. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. This card in the extra monster zone gains 500 attack for every other Link monster on the field and in the graveyard. Also, your opponent cannot target it with card effects. Okay, so if you play against a Cybers deck, that means they are gonna have 14 other Link monsters in the graveyard when they summon this, right? Because everyone, like one Adignister monster summons the entire extra deck. So this is 14 Link monsters from the Cybers player alone, which means this is basically always 9,300 attack at minimum, because it counts the opponents as well, and it can't be targeted. Quick effect, you contribute one monster this card points to. Send a Cybers monster from your extra deck to the grave. Also, this card can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase this turn. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this cannot be used on the first turn, right? Because I would compare it to Mermail Abyss Megalo, which you cannot tribute with on the first turn. Can you use it on the opponent's turn? Because technically you also can't attack, but you do have a battle phase. The opponent does have a battle phase, but I'm pretty sure you can use it on your own turn. I don't know about the opponent's turn. Luckily, I think this card sucks ass no matter what, which is awesome. Makes me very happy. Makes me very happy that the Decode Talker is terrible. All right, the rivals. What we've got here: Blue Eyes White Dragon, the White Phantom Beast. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. When this card is added from the deck to your hand, or your monster is destroyed by battle, you can reveal this card in your hand, special summon it. If this card is special summoned from the hand or deck, you can destroy all monsters your opponent controls. Also, you can only attack directly with Blue Eyes monsters this turn. When a card or effect is activated, it targets this card on the field. Quick effect, you can discard one card, negate that effect. Okay, how does Blue Eyes easily add this card? I mean, can you summon this with the Roar spell? You can only summon anything if you already have Blue Eyes, right? End phase Magnamoot? Dude, end phase Magnamoot is devious if they play that shit. I think in the current iteration of Blue Eyes, they wouldn't play this. Correct me if I'm wrong, because there's just no good way to really search it. You can summon it with seals as well. But those are all like not Blue Eyes related cards. But it could be a pretty good seals target. Bingo Machine Go in terms like to get it guaranteed, you'd have to play 3. You can search it with Kaibaman. There's a lot. There's ways to add it. I'm aware. Like you can also play, what is it? The Melody of the Awakening Dragon or whatever it's called. However, does it really offer you that much that you are willing to play that in Blue Eyes? Or are you not adding more bricks than the deck already has? I can see it being good in grind games for sure. But like, I don't know, adding more bricks to Blue Eyes is kind of weird. At the same time, I mean, you're already playing infinite Blue Eyes, so infinite bricks. So what? Maybe who cares? But maybe it's an interesting one-off that could come up if you play Seals and Magnamoot and all that. Maybe it's a good enough one-off, because it does make your Magnamoot completely insane. This one, I'm not sure how I feel about the artwork. It feels very crowded, but it is kind of a cool idea to have the Crimson Dragon with all the 5 dragons around it. It's a sweet idea. I like that they are immediately playing around with this a little bit. It is not always just, oh, monster but bigger. Sometimes there's more things going on, which I think is cool. So Crimson Dragon, Quetzalcoatl, Level 12, law generic. You can only use this card names first and third effect once per turn each. If this card is synchro summoned, you can special summon as many dragon synchro monsters from your grave as possible. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn. Gains attack equal to the total original attack of all other synchros you control. When your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can return one other dragon you control to the extra deck, and if you do, negate that activation. Bro, that's just Allied Code Talker. They took Allied Code Talker and they went like, hey, no one likes that card. And when I say no one, I mean literally no one. Don't argue with me in the comments. Do not defend Allied Code Talker. Let's make a synchro version of that. That's potentially pretty good. I mean, also in combination with the other Stardust from earlier, that's potentially a pretty big boost to certain decks. I mean, all of a sudden you can just summon this is a generic synchro, so as long as you can synchro climb enough with like Axel Stardust or any other dragon synchros in the mix, you know, Centurion has dragon synchros, anything, you know, like you can just put this out at the end, bring your board back, and have an Omni Negate as well. Monster Negate, pardon, not an Omni Negate, Monster Negate. But yeah, that's a good card. Unfortunately, not a fan of the concept, but I don't like how there's a lot of negating going on here. You know, like the Blue Eyes is cool concept, but other than that, you know, the synchro slop stuff is just a bunch of negating. I mean, I guess it's only the synchros. Everything else has been cool. All right, Cyber End Dragon, the Decisive Strike Dragon. 3 machine monsters with 2100 or more attack. Must be fusion summoned. You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. If this card is fusion summoned using only light monsters, you can pay 4,000 life points, add a limiter removal from your deck to your hand. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. This card, whose current attack is higher than its original attack, can make a second and third attack during each battle phase. Oh, that's funny. I don't know if it's good, but it's funny. It's basically, I mean, it's just Trident Dragion. It's Trident Dragion destroying Sangan Summoning is 6k attacks 3 times. This is 8,000 attacks 3 times and does piercing. So it literally is always game. Which I guess makes sense for Cyber Dragon, because Cyber Dragon used to be like this classic go second OTK deck. I don't know if this really, I mean, you know, yes, if this card enters the battle phase, you explode. Yeah, how do you summon it? How do you get there? I don't know. As far as I know, Cyber Dragon doesn't have a Sangan summoning that makes everything unaffected and lets the opponent not activate anything in battle phase with the synchro. So I don't know. Can this be better than Tenpai? Probably not. Tenpai was pretty insane. But yeah, there's probably ways here. Neo Galaxy Ice Photon Dragon, Photon Howling. 3 level 8 monsters. Once per turn, you can also exceed summon it by using any rank 8 you control. Transfer its materials to this card. If this card exceeds summoned, you can take a Photon monster from your deck and special summon it in defense or attach it to this card as material. Quick effect, detach 3 materials from this card, tribute 1 other exceed monster, and if you do, negate the effects of all other face-up cards currently on the field until the end of this turn. This is also good. These are crazy cards on average. Like, some are better than others, but these are all, I mean, you can tell that they are trying to really they're trying to knock these out of the park, you know, like they're trying to come out swinging with these frame breaks. They want demand for it. Let me tell you right now, Konami, you did not need to do this. People would have gone crazy for these regardless. Also, judging by what I've seen with the Dark Magician earlier, I am pretty certain, and I hope that this is true, for please God, let this be true. I think they have a regular version and a frame break version. I hope all of them. I hope all of them have the regular version, which can be affordable, hopefully, copium, and then there's a chase card. Like in the Dark Magician case, I've already seen an image. I don't know if it's been officially confirmed that that's the case for all of these cards. If not, that would be insanely stupid. So I think it's yeah. The cards come in ultra rare and ultra rare overframe. Yeah. It better. Starving Venom Fusion Dragon of the 4 Heavenly Dragons. 2 dark monsters on the field. Okay, super polyable as well. This card is treated as a Predaplant card. If this card is special summoned, you can target one other face-up monster on the field, changes the attack to 0, negate its effects. Also, its attribute becomes dark. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can fusion summon a dark fusion from your extra deck using dark monsters on the field, including this card. Does this mean you can use opponent's cards? I think it does, right? That is an insane super poly target if you can pull it off. Because that is multiple interruption. That is basically 3 interruptions. You super poly away 2 bodies. On summon, you get a monster negate. If you time this well, you can even negate an on summon effect with it, because let's say it's your opponent's turn, they try to summon something, you chain super poly, then theirs is chain link 1, you are chain link 2 to negate it. And then afterwards, if they activate a card or effect, you can fusion summon again, which is another removal, and then you're summoning like Dragos Tapelia, which is like a 4th negation as well. This card is insane. Super Poly might be back on the menu with this card. Holy shit. Yeah, okay. Okay, what do we have here? Borreload Liberator Dragon. 3+ effect monsters. You can only special summon it once per turn. Once per turn, during the battle phase, quick effect. You can place a monster your opponent controls in the zone this card points to, take control of it. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this effect activation. Once per chain, if this card's in your grave, quick effect, you can target a monster you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon this card. It is a better Borreload Dragon, I would say. That is a little help against Nibiru in like Dragon Link decks, maybe. Just a little bit. It's not bad, but it's like mainly good going second. And like, is it really better than the other Boral cards going second? Like, it doesn't even feel straight up better than like Boral Sword Dragon, but it can be I mean, it's just taking a monster is not a bad ability. I'm not sure if you're gonna play it though. Yeah, I'm not sure how good it is, but it's a decent card. It just kind of pales in comparison to what I've just read. Maybe that's why I'm underwhelmed by it right now, because I mean, I literally just read custom cards for Photon and the super poly target. So like, yeah, it kind of pales in comparison a little bit. Okay. New anime cards from the Limit Over collections. Okay, we've got some more cards. We've got Underworld Circle, continuous spell card. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name per duel. Activate this card if there are 5 or more monsters in each graveyard. We can probably stop reading. Destroy as many monsters on the field as possible, then each player banishes all monsters from their deck. Well, okay, hold up. Destroy as many monsters on the field as possible, then each player banishes all monsters from their deck face down. Then you can special summon a normal monster from your grave. Once per turn during the standby phase, each player can special summon 1 monster from their grave, ignoring its summoning conditions, but banish it when it leaves the field. I mean, you're never gonna get to do this probably. I think I'm pretty confident in saying that this card is unplayable, but it's a very funny win condition. You just go like, oh, well, all of your deck is now banished, so you have no more win con. At the end, like, let's say you play into a board, you know, and then everything is exhausted, and then you just go like, okay, destroy everything and banish everything that you have left in your deck, you know? I don't know. It doesn't banish the graveyard though, so it's probably not good. I mean, it's just way too situational, right? But it's a funny thing. Like, imagine someone like builds a blind second deck where the goal is to do this, but what if you don't draw it, you know? Master Spirit Tech Force Pendulum Ruler, level 12 Light Machine Fusion Pendulum. Okay, brace yourselves. Pendulum scale 1. You can only use the pendulum effect once per turn. During your main phase, return this card to the extra deck. Then you can add a level 7 pendulum from your deck or face up extra to your hand. Okay, very powerful effect, but first of all, you have to get it into the scale. It needs a level 7 or higher pendulum monster and a pendulum monster. You can only use the third effect twice per turn. Can't be destroyed by card effects. Your opponent's monsters cannot attack except pendulum monsters without a level. You can tribute 1 monster, then target 1 card your opponent controls, destroy it, and if you do, inflict 1600 damage to them. Once per turn, you can place this card in your pendulum zone. But probably not worth it. Probably not great. Gatling Ogre, level 3 Fire Fiend. Fire Fiend could matter for what is this? Oh no, that's Fiend Tuner, right? The cool tune. You can use the first effect of this card name thrice per turn. All right, awesome. You can send any number of set cards from your spell trap zone to the grave. Inflict 800 damage to your opponent for each. Also, your opponent takes no damage from non-fiend monster effects for the rest of this turn. There's no way there has to be an FTK with this. There has to be an FTK because you can do this 3 times. In total, you have to send 10 set cards. I don't know if you can produce that many, but once per turn, when this card is targeted for an attack, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent. Okay. There was in the anime. Oh, okay. What does this card look like? Oh yeah, he looks like something that FTK'd in the anime, yeah. I mean, these very much feel like anime cards. They're not as good as the other cards for sure. Infernity Doomslinger, level 1 Dark Fiend. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. During your main phase, you can special summon a fiend from your hand. If you have no cards in your hand, quick effect, banish this card from your grave. Your opponent chooses one of these to apply. Reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a monster, your opponent takes any effect damage you would have taken this turn instead. Otherwise, you take 4,000. You take no effect damage this turn. Infernity cards literally only exist in 2 categories, which is some of the most cracked non-once per turn combo slop material, or the other category, which this card falls into, which is absolute unplayable dog shit. There is no in between, and it's crazy how big both of these categories are for Infernities. Like they have some like they printed cards in the same set where one of them is like literally still broken today, and the other one wouldn't even have seen in freaking GOAT format. It's insane. This one is unfortunately the dog shit category. Okay. I think that's all from the Limit Over collection. We have some cards to look at from Blazing to Dominion, but I'm gonna split that up into 2 videos. This is good stuff. I mean, this is all just 1 card per archetype, basically, but this is good stuff. I think the biggest winners are Super Polymerization, because you got the Hero Fusion as an option, and you got the Predaplant, which is crazy, but the Predaplant's insane. Then Photon takes a big dub here. Synchro Slop in general, which I'm not a big fan of, is taking a big dub with 2 good generic synchros that just spit out more negates. Luckily, only the Crimson Dragon is able to negate Nibiru. This one, if you go Chainlink 1, Nibiru can't stop Nibiru, so that's going to be hopefully a way to beat it. The Blue Eyes support is decent. The Dark Magician support is very good, but I don't know if it's enough. But I mean, there's a lot here. There's a lot to process. So I guess let me know what you think about these. But I mean, honestly, I was happy either way. These could have been either very bad, or they could have just had. Honestly, I would have been happy if these were just alt arts of the original cards. I would have been happy with that already, because I just wanted the full arts, man. I wanted the full arts, and I wanted the full arts to look good, and they look good. That's the big news. I mean, look at this. Jeez, I need it. These cards are awesome. So here's to hoping that these will be chase cards, make Yu-Gi-Oh collectible again, make product fun to open again, and hopefully they'll be a success, so they will also make their way into core booster sets. That's what I'm really hoping for.